Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing, and we're going to open up this episode this morning as what we were talking about yesterday. Another lending platform on the verge of insolvency, blockchain.com, faces 270 million hit on loans to bankrupt Three Arrows. Three Arrows, as you know, 3-4 weeks ago, when they started, when major trading sites and then these lending platforms started halting withdrawals, old Vincenzo told you, if you're on a lending platform, lending money out, and you weren't affected by the initial halts and taking your money out, I warned you to get your money out ASAP. And since then, we've had 3 companies go bankrupt. And this is the latest one that I fear may be happening, is blockchain.com, because of a $270 million loan it gave out to Three Arrows Capital. If you want to lend your money out for interest, just know that they're doing very risky things like Celsius, Three Arrows, I forget the other one that was out of China, right? They're doing something to get that return, and it's risky things. And then when shit like this happens and you have a liquidity crunch across the board and a quantitative tightening, this is the kind of stuff that happens in bubbles, right? July 8th, cryptocurrency exchange blockchain.com could lose $270 million on loans to bankrupt crypto hedge funds Three Arrow Capital's 3AC. And if you have money on there and you're an unsecured creditor because you lent money to them for interest, you'll be lucky to get 10 cents to the dollar back after bankruptcy, right? If you even get that, you might get nothing. But if you're lucky, you'll get 10 cents to your dollar, which is essentially, right? The development comes days after Three Arrow 3AC filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy protection from creditors in the United States after one of the most highly profiled blowups on the crypto crash this year, right? Three Arrows is reportedly becoming insolvent, which old Vincenzo warned would happen in a big bear market with some of this nonsense that was going on, right? Default impact is approximately $270 million worth of cryptocurrency and U.S. dollar loans from blockchain.com, right? So these guys, blockchain.com is not going to get this money back. And what does that mean for blockchain.com? Well, they're doing what the other Three Arrows did, Celsius did, and a few others before they filed bankruptcy. They are withdrawing or halting withdrawals, so you can't get your money out right now. So that means in a few weeks, they're going to have to file bankruptcy protection as their creditors come after them. Earlier this, like you, if you loan money to them, earlier this week, digital asset Genuous Trading also said it has been exposed to Three Arrows Genesis. So this is another one that's going to go. If you're on Genesis and they're still allowing you to get your money out of that lending platform, get it out now, because they're going to be the next shoe to drop along with blockchain.com. Aggressive rate hikes, breaking news there by old Vincenzo. Another prediction by this crypto insider. Hikes by the U.S. Federal Reserve and recession fears have led to a turmoil, right? Yeah, obviously there's been a turmoil. So you got to be aware of that. And if you have your money in those lending platforms, before it cascades down to you, if you've been lucky enough that your site hasn't been hit yet, get it out, because it's going to get hit, because this bear market's not over. And the carnage has just begun in the crypto market. But right now you can see we have this nice trying to bottom out where we had this falling channel, right? And then we have sort of a mountain, a W or a mountain double bottom like this, which is very similar to what we were watching, where we had this in the short time frame, and then we had a little head, and then we had this little shoulder, but it kind of elongated into this rising wedge. And that is the same technical target that we've been looking at since the price was over in here, is up here on a pattern breakup, right up into here, about the 25,400 range, and it still hasn't changed. We just figured that, I dissected that this was a falling channel, along with this little consolidation that we were in, that if it was going to break up, even now you're starting to see the crypto sphere talking about a W pattern like this in the 2 to 3 hour time frame. They're like, oh, this is a big W pattern. Yeah, it could be a W pattern, but it's the same pattern that old Vincenzo diagnosed, sniffed out, and detected up here when we were watching what looked like a bottoming pattern, right, in the 1-2 hour time frame. And then we seen it was in a falling channel. When it got rejected here, we switched our lines to see that it actually was a falling channel, right? That when it breaks out, the technical target of a falling channel is up here at 24,000. But then we have the overall pattern, which usually it likes to do overshoot, and that would bring us right up into this range, right? And that's what we've been talking about, and that's what we're still looking at. And now the rest of the crypto sphere is coming around to it. And you can see again last night we bounced off that lower support, right, of the falling, or the lower support now that used to be upper resistance back here on this little rising wedge. As we broke out of the falling channel, we were talking about you got to hold. What you guys are looking at? You got to hold. You have to hold the you have to hold this now in this little channel that you were in. When you came down up here, we were saying you got to hold this, right? And then if you could hold that and bounce up, that would be bullish, and that would be a bullish action. You did. You wicked off it, came back up, got rejected. Then you came back down and wicked onto it, held it again. As long as you can hold this uptrend, you can confirm a breakout and kick to the upside, right? But if you fail this, you're more than likely going to come down to the 200-day moving average, and that's what we're still watching out for this weekend as the futures markets close. Do we hold that? See that little consolidation that we were in right there within the bigger falling channel? If you can't hold that white uptrend right there, you're going to come down to the 200-day, and then what you would more than likely do is back test the old all-time high and the old upper resistance from the falling channel in yellow, right? So that's the scenarios we're watching out for in the Bitcoin. Don't buy Luna, it's a scam, right? Join my links down below if you're an active trader. Use my Bitget partnership /Vincenzo down there, right? And then become members of Jabroni Killers for as cheap as $38 a year, right? A year, 38 bucks a year to support the channel and to help keep this content free, right? And to help grow it, most importantly, to help grow this. You can see Ethereum, we're still riding the uptrend, which is in white. We got the green fib circle that as long as we can hold above that, you're bullish, and we've been fighting with that for about 2.5 weeks. Then you got your major upper resistance now that you're coming up to at $1,299, and we've been talking about that level for a long time since the price was down here, trying to see if we could figure out if it could hold this green fib circle again, and it has, and now it's just slithering its way up to major upper resistance at $1,299. If you get some kind of volume spike there, right, you could shoot all the way up to 1,678, but what's more likely to happen is there's going to be some overhead sell pressure up here, because if we zoom out in Ethereum to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that was major in this consolidation right here. This was a falling channel that actually broke down, because they can break down, and this was in the middle of the massive liquidity crunch of 2 months ago, the great crunch of 2022, right? And then so now if you just continue that line out into the future on its way back up, that's obviously going to have overhead sell pressure, right? So that's why that's there. And then you could even draw this one down, which would be like that. And then that would be overhead sell pressure on the top side of that before you came up to the major supply zone, where there's going to be majors. Anyone that bought in here, the way this works is after you have a huge flush. I mean, look, when I mean huge flush, you're looking at this, and say you bought at the mid part of this consolidation, you were down 50% right off the bat. And if you bought up there, you're down 60, 70%. So if the price, when it does squeeze back after it gets a big flush out, you start to touch this area again, all these buyers that were up here are going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm about to break even, when I was down 50% and they were looking to get out, right? And that often makes an initial sell up there. So that's what we're going to be watching out for in Ethereum. Cardano, you can see what we were talking about yesterday. Let's pull out something we haven't used in a long time. The subscribers have been asking for Eraser, and my subscribers demand more Eraser. You're going to get more Eraser. What we were talking about here, look at Eraser flawlessly killing this, is this was a beautiful job, Eraser. We're going to have to bring Eraser back into the show. It's been a long time. But we were circling there that this is, you could say, a descending triangle, because it is in the 4-hour time frame. You have horizontal support 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then you have descending overhead resistance 1, 2, 3, and now 4. Overly confirms the pattern. This is usually a bearish continuation pattern. Why did it have to do that? We were doing so good. Let's get another one out. Right there. There we go. We were doing so good. Get that. What the fuck? But the bearish side, if it broke to the downside, would be the top part of the shithouse, right down here at about 30 to 28 cents. But if it breaks up, because just like you've seen that falling channel and Ethereum break to the downside when usually they break to the upside, you can see if this breaks to the upside, it's got eyes on that 61 cents. And we've been talking about that for quite some time. And the most a logical time for that to happen would be the weekend when the futures markets are closed. So you don't need as much buy pressure to move the price up. You just need the small volume that's traded over the weekend to be buys, right? So we're going to watch out for this to break to the upside if it does. And that would get you to the bottom part of the last line of defense in orange, aka get my shit together to the shit house, right? And you can see that'd be a 30% pump. So that's the two areas we're watching in Cardano. Doge is now on the top side of this old white support zone, or the old former upper resistance. And now it's flipped it, maybe trying to hold it as support. And that's what we were talking about when we were trying to bottom off the last line of defense to the shithouse. And we were trying to figure out how we could work our way up to here, right? The initial pump got you over, then got you rejected. And we said, if you can get back on the top side of this white support zone where it was support and then it flushed through, if you could get back on the top side of it and hold it, you could then make a pump up and get bullish, right? And then it saddled here right below it for a day and a half, and it flipped it yesterday with a little power move there. It doesn't look like much, but it's a subtle power move up, and then now you're holding it as the 50 and the 100 in blue and red respectively uptrend. The 200 days starting to level off and run parallel to the price. That's going to act as squeezing the price, so when the volume comes back in, it's either going to pop way up or it's going to flush way down, and that's what we're watching out for, right? In the old dogecoin. And then we'll finish with low XRP. You can see XRP is coming back into the supply zone. We're hit the 200 day. Now we're consolidating, the same thing as Doge, just at a level below. Instead of being up here where Doge is, or actually this is, Doge is sitting up here. We're consolidating down here, but you can see the 50 and then the 200 are uptrending. Or the 50 and the 100 are uptrending in red and blue, and then the 200 in green is running parallel, and this is starting to hold it as support. And when the volume comes in, you're either going to pop up, and the key is to get on top of this 37 cents right there to remain bullish, or if you come up into this and start getting rejected like you did here, that could be indicative that you're going to fall back down. Like, subscribe, and share to Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing. Peace and love. Peace and love.